Hey, my name is Badass Benny. Welcome to my channel. If you're an ace, AMAC, and sex human trafficking survivor, you're in the right place. And it won't cost you a penny to like and subscribe and to share worldwide. And please leave a comment down on the video. Today we're going to story tell, and this is about a person I'm going to call Ted. And I have known Ted since I was about 10 years old, and he was my parents' friend, and he took a liking to me. As I got older, as a teen, I got into soccer, and Ted was into soccer too, and that was something that we could connect with and talk about. And sometimes I show him my leg. Look, that's as hard as a rock, my muscle, you know. He was like a big brother or something to me. I didn't look at him as something sexual, you know. And my mom overheard something later on, you know, when I was little, that a conversation that my stepdad and Ted had was that you get them young so that, you know, women and girls, and you can train them as when they're women, you know, they're more ready for them. You know what I mean? And so my mom was like telling me that when I was a teenager. And Ted had shown interest in me sexually, and for my 16th birthday he took me out to see Joan Jett, a concert at the university that I was at. And we had a good time. It was appropriate then. And I got to see Joan Jett. I got into, she was in a bus, and I went outside and saw her and waved, and went up to her inside the bus, and I said, could you sign my ticket? And man, she looked so good, just like she does. I mean, she looked beautiful and great. I thought she was the most amazing rock and roll woman singer, you know. And then all of a sudden, one of her fans, it was a woman, lifts up her titties, her shirt, and shows her titties. And Joan and I look at each other, and then she just smiles, and I smile, and then she signs my ticket. And you know, even then I didn't even know if I was a lesbian kid, you know what I mean? And so we just looked at each other and smiled. I thought that was great. And then Ted took me back in the car, you know, and I lived out on a prune and wheat ranch, still living in the trailer. Everybody that knew me knew I lived in an aluminum trailer and did absolutely nothing. There may be talk like, oh, how would that affect this child, you know, that I was a child, not just an it or an object, you know, and how would it affect me as an adult? No, it messed with my social skills. Hello. So we'll talk about that later. And so with Ted, on the way back from the Joan Jett concert, was telling me that he liked me and that he was interested. And I said, you know, you're going to have to talk to my mom. And, you know, I hadn't even gotten ready for the prom, and he did. He went and talked to my mom. I even think he got a boner. I don't remember him standing behind me and I felt it or something. I don't even remember, something like that. I didn't know what to do with that. That's when I said, you got to go talk to my mom. And then my mom talked to me about the conversation that they had. And she said no. And I'm grateful for her for that. Thank God. You know? And I think my mom said, he's 36 years old or something. And I'm like, a kid, 16. And she's all, well, you're going to take me to the prom. So he had to wait until I was 18. And when I graduated high school, it was my stepdad and Mary, another friend of my parents, who ended up marrying my ex-husband. And she was there, and Ted, and he asked me, if I wanted to be with them, and I said, well, I want to do stuff. I have plans, and I want to go to school and go to college, and running. I have things I want to do, and that didn't happen. But it was always like that through all the years, and I'm 57 now. And he would show up in my 40s, and I was seeing someone dating someone, he'd show up, and at that time I was a lesbian, and I made a decision, and he's sitting there, and my future wife was sitting there, and I chose her. There was time in my 20s, I didn't tell anybody that I was in a domestic violence with the kids' dad, so I didn't say anything because I was just 18. I didn't want any violence with my friend Ted or with Dylan. I wanted them to fight for me. It was so weird, but I wanted Dylan to fight for me. He didn't, and also Ted. I couldn't tell them what was going on because like I said, I didn't want any violence or anything to happen. And I was humiliated in some ways too. And so, again, I think when I came out as trans, I saw Ted, and he cried. And now we don't talk. So there's a lot of transphobic. And there was one time, even when I came back to my hometown and I talked to him, and before he saw me and through all the change, he said that he would accept me the way I was. And he was with a woman. He said his girlfriend wouldn't appreciate us talking and whatever, me coming around, but then he wanted me to go to concert with him. And I just, no, you have to really have good boundaries. Practice boundaries. We will until we die. That's all I know. And so that's my story about Ted. And through every decade of my 30s, my 20s, my 30s and 40s and 50s, he would say, well, I said I'm 57, and he would say I'm 60-something now, or I was in my 30s, and he would say he's in his 50s, so it was just always like that. I don't know what to call that. Hit and miss. It wasn't supposed to happen. And I miss that friendship. It probably wasn't appropriate even when I was a teen, and he was a 36-something-year-old man. So that was one good thing my mother did for me. So I thank her for that. So that's my story. Sticking to it. What are you going to do to take care of yourself today?